My favorite rapper, Biggie Small, said, I know you heard me on the radio, and that's Ricky Smiley, but now we got to see him on the podcast. He talked about death. He talked about addiction. He talked about dysfunctional families. And he talked about the last year of him being single. You got to see this. You're going to laugh, and you might even cry. Ricky Smiley, ladies and gentlemen, not on the radio, but right here on the Let's Be Clear podcast.
The only thing someone could do is try to get your loved one help and put them in some insurance.
Yeah.
If they high risk. That's just the business. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You know, I know people in the Christian community say you're putting words out there, but well, okay, you got insurance for your house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You live
and your car.
Right, and your car. And you on a highway, your car becomes a risk of getting hit. You live in Georgia, your house is a risk of getting affected by a tornado.
Right.
If you live in Florida, you're a risk of a hurricane.
Yeah.
You know, California earthquake.
Yeah.
You have to take care of the business, because if your child is high risk or your uncle is high risk or whatever, you go to try to get him help so he can get better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to prepare for the worst, because you know what's out there. Let's just be real. I know what's out there.
Yeah.
I had a nephew to pass away. I had a niece and a nephew to pass away. They all aged 32. My son, my niece, my nephew, they all passed away, aged 32, fentanyl. So if you know what's out there,
yeah,
and stuff, you just have to start preparing yourself. I had sat my kids down and told them probably like a year before this happened, and had a conversation at the table. Everybody flew in. I said, listen, we're going to have to prepare ourselves, because I saw it coming.
Wow.
You praying at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, doing everything you can as a dad, and you praying, but you know what's out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I had to be real with my kids and prepare them.
No, that's
But
heavy.
nothing could have prepared us for when it actually happened.
Yeah.
That didn't make it
lighter or
easier. Yeah.
Dale Bronner said, we're born looking like our parents, and we die looking like our decisions. One of the critical things I want you to help with, whether or dealing with addiction or otherwise, the responsibility we feel as parents, drum roll, on grown kids. When you talk about kids, people thinking of a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old, an 11-year-old. But how then do you free yourself to say, this was an adult that made that decision? Because you've got parents who are listening, who are watching, who have served themselves a life sentence of not being able to forgive themselves for the decisions adult children have made.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty about anything. And I had family members, because me and my son, I had to put some space between me and my son, because it was things that he's, said, during his addiction to me, where I was driving around Birmingham looking for him to kill him myself, because I was that mad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a black dad. You just can't say certain stuff to me.
Right.
Like, I'm ready to fight you in the middle of the street. And I didn't have a full understanding that addiction caused that kind of behavior, because my niece and my nephew were totally different. They were still, yes, sir, no, sir, I understand, or whatever. Well, my son was just something, it just affected him differently. I thought he was just being a jerk. I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to say anything that will, in his memory, he was a great kid.
No, I get it.
He was a great kid, but drugs and alcohol would come in and turn them into a completely different person. Yeah. And I had to create space, but I had to protect the rest of my kids.
Yeah.
I didn't throw them away, because as where I created space, I was still trying to help him.
Yeah.
Rehab was $70,000, like on the table. Pull your credit card out right now.
Wow.
And it was $70,000. I did it twice.
Wow.
I did the best I could. I sent him to college. I fought for him. When he was at an age where he could decide what parent he wanted to stay with, I fought for him to come stay with me. And I remember driving him off to Alabama State University, going in there myself, setting up his dorm room and hanging up. We listened to the Big N Tupac all the way down 65. you know, and you look back at all of this stuff and say, well, what do I have to feel guilty about? I cook meals, you know. I didn't even. And sometimes they would run. You were gone all the time. I'm like, listen, I'm no different from a mom or dad that's in the military.
Right.
I might be gone performing on the weekend, but I'll come back during the week, or if I'm gone for a week, you there with my mom and my dad,
right,
or whatever. You in the house or whatever. So we can't feel guilty for having to take care of you.
Right.
We have to work to take care of you. And some hours are during the time you're home, and some hours are during the time you're not home, or whatever. I did the I wasn't a perfect parent, but I did the best I could.
That's all we
for my
expect.
kids.
Yeah.
And when you go back to that video, the video shows it. You know,
no, it's powerful.
When they get a certain age or whatever, you know, you can do what you can, do the best you can for your child. They get a certain age, they have decisions that they have to make. My dad made a bad decision. I lost my dad and my son the same way.
No way.
That's what this book is about. The book connects my dad's death.
Yeah.
To this is gonna blow your mind. I try not to get emotional because I'm in therapy right now for my dad's death. I hadn't even got to my son yet.
How long ago did your father die?
My father died April 11, 1974.
Wow.
And I can tell you every single thing that everybody had on at that funeral on the first 3 rows and where I was sitting. I can tell you everything that happened that Friday night. I can tell you from Smith and Gaston Funeral Home to New St. James Baptist Church. And I remember sitting there watching my grandparents cry like that. And that tear me up. They dead and gone. But that tear me up to this day. I haven't even got to my son yet.
The transparency of Ricky Smiley is one of one. I mean, he really let us in. I'm thankful for him being a brother, for him being a friend, but for him being a real man. I want you to share this with the people in your family so that they understand no family is perfect, but every family has got to find a way to make it work. Click the link so that you and your entire family can watch it, heal, and move on together.